Hello, everybody. This is Nanette Kennedy with Humanities Team at Evolution Revolution, and we are reading Friendship with God. We're chapter 16. I'm going to let Linda talk you through that. And of course, this book is by Neil Donald Walsch. And Linda, why don't you go ahead?
Okay.
Hi, Sarah.
So we are on page 353. It's the paragraph that starts just when it looked like I'd be working part-time, and it's Neil speaking. Just when it looked like I'd be working part-time forever, I received a surprise offer from another radio station in town to come over and do their afternoon drive time show. They'd caught my weekend gig and liked what they heard. But Medford is not exactly a big radio market, and I was offered $900 a month to start. Still, I was working full-time again and able to leave the campground. I'd lived there for over 9 months. It was a time I'll never forget. I blessed the day I trudged into that park, lugging my camping gear with me, for it was not the end of my life at all, but the beginning. I learned in that park about loyalty and honesty and authenticity and trust, and about simply sharing and surviving. I learned about never resigning myself to defeat, yet accepting and being grateful for what is true right here, right now. So it isn't just from movie stars and famous authors that I have learned. It's from homeless people who befriended me and from people I see every day, people I encounter as I go through life, the mailman, the grocery clerk, the lady at the dry cleaners. All have something to teach you, something to bring you as a gift. And here is a great secret. Every one of them came to receive a gift from you as well. What is the gift you have given them? And if you have, in your confusion, done what you imagine to have hurt them, do not assume that this is not too a gift. It may have been a great treasure, as your time in the park. Have you not learned from your greatest hurts, sometimes even more than from your greatest pleasures? Who then is the villain, and who is the victim in your life? You will have reached real mastery when you can come to clarity about this before, rather than after, the outcome of an experience is known to you. Your time of dissolution and dissolution taught you that your life is never over. Never ever think that your life is over, but know always that each day, each hour, each moment is another beginning, another opportunity, another chance to recreate yourself anew. Even if you do this at the last possible moment, at the moment of your death, you will have justified your entire experience and glorified it before God. Even if you are a hardened criminal, a murderer living on death row, or walking to your execution, this will nonetheless be true. You must know this. You must trust it. I would not tell it to you were it not so. Shall I keep going?
I think so. I'm not sure, unless somebody has something to say about what you just read.
I do.
I have a... Go ahead, Shabana.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Linda.
No. What I was going to say is I have a quote from Muji, but I want to save it and share it at the end, not now.
I find that so encouraging, what you've just read, Linda. It just makes everything perfect. We're supposed to see it as perfect anyway. But these words are so powerful because I'm dealing with a roommate who's very sick. He's 33, 2 months younger than my son. And he's gone for an ultrasound, and I can hear him swearing because he doesn't know how to cope with his mortality. And so he's in distress. And I've decided to make food for him every day as an act of love, just to express kindness in a way that he can understand. I mean, in this materialist culture, there's only two things people ever need, and those are haircuts and food. Other than that, we've got a surplus of everything. So by making him the food, I feel good for myself. And he says things to me which are so disrespectful. I just find them shocking. But I will never, ever, ever say anything but the kindest back, because I've been there, done that when I was really going crazy. And when I was diagnosed with diabetes, everyone in the hospital that I went to for a month, I had to be hospitalized for a month. Everyone was telling me, take the insulin, eat this, don't do that, blah, 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 as though, I was some kind of car which they jacked up and they were looking at the underside and they were going to fix my engine or my whatever. And it was as if I was some kind of machine. And only one nurse out of the about 40 that I met looked sad and said, hey, I'm sorry that you've been diagnosed and you'll have to live with this. That was the only person who treated me as a human being. And I'm remembering that with this man, is that he just wants to be loved. And I've told him that I'm crying for you and it's breaking my heart that you're sick. And of course he's coming, whoa, 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 it's no big deal. So I said, yep, you're right. No one can ever do anything for anyone, but I'm crying for you. And that's my decision because I see you as human and I see this as sad. And I'll cry if I want to. You can't stop that. And the poor fellow's heart melted. My face is frozen, but I got so much joy out of him finally realizing that, and he said to me, I'm cranky in the morning. So I said, I don't care. I'm not that perfect myself, but for this to be a revelation to me that he actually feels sad about the way he behaves and he's terrified of his mortality. It's scary because I can't tell him you're going to live forever and all of that. So all I said is, one nurse was kind to me. But it's not as if we're not all made in the image of God and we're not all doing idiot things. And I feel better that for once I'm not doing them. It's a big improvement.
I wanted to mention, it says, have you not learned from your greatest, you will have reached mastery, real mastery, when you can come to clarity about this before, rather than after the outcome of an experience is known to you. Now, I don't know whether I'm reading too much into it, but it says you can come to clarity before the outcome. So if you're in a situation, that means you know the outcome before it happens. Do you see what I mean? The outcome of an experience is known to you, but you wouldn't know the outcome until you've actually gone through the whole experience. So I'm a bit, don't quite understand that. I might be reading it too much into it. I don't know. What it's saying is if you can reach clarity to the situation, you can see what you're learning from the situation as you're going through the situation. I get that, but you don't know what the outcome is going to be. Or is that the mastery, by knowing what the outcome is going to be before you get there? Over.
Angela, I can venture something about that. I'm taking a course with Neil Donald Walsh and Evolving Wisdom about the agenda of the soul. And what we learned in this last lesson, which was week 6 of a 9-week course, is that our emotions are something that we decide ahead of time. First thing in the morning, we're supposed to say that before I lift my head off the pillow, I already have everything I need. That my decision is to be love, because that's what the soul is, and that's the agenda of the soul. So it doesn't matter what's coming up. My way of dealing with it is not reaction, but creation. Those are the same letters, just rearranged, so that, like God, in whose image we're made, and like we're the same as God, our soul is a part of God. It's just that we're in these human bodies because we chose to come here. So our feelings are determined by us ahead of time. We're responsible for them. And so whatever happens, we've chosen the outcome, which is to show love, be love, and to create love. Because once you give it away, it's the only thing that, love is something, if you give it away, you end up having more. So I think, Angela, what it's saying is, bring it on, because I'll just counter it with the most creative, grandest version of myself that you've ever seen. And once you see me, you'll have more abundant life, and you'll be larger and happier and greater than before I hit your perception. Does that sort of answer it?
Yes, thank you. That does, in a way, because I will be love in every given situation. So I would know that I will be love at the outcome of the situation. So yes, it does, in a way. Thank you.
Yeah, just one tiny thing, Angela. Not I will be, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there's a big difference.
Yes, of course, yeah. Thank you, Shabana.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm just so happy to share the stuff in the course, because it's just turned everything. I mean, when he was selling the course and saying that you're going to wake up happier and this and that, I thought, oh dear, it sounds like one of the TV ads. Is buy this, quick fix thing and you'll be fine. But he wasn't kidding. It took me a few weeks, but I get it.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm just so happy that you agree with this, because every one of us is love, we're not going to be. And every one of us is a creator, just like God is. And he's helping us create, and that he's helping us. I mean, you can call it anything, but he loves us. And the more we love others and live in gratitude, the more the light and the joy spreads. Over.
Indeed.
Angela, I was also going to say, thank you, Shabana. That was beautiful sharing. And I have taken a number of classes with Neil. I really, I think he does a great class, really. So I was going to say, the sentence immediately before that is, who then is the villain and who is the victim in your life? You will have reached real mastery when you can come to clarity about this before rather than after the outcome of an experience is known to you. So I really, my sense of it is that he's really pointing to the issue of victim villain, and the realization that we're neither of those ever. And if we can come to clarity before, and come to clarity and hang on to it as we're going through our day, rather than having to process our experiences after the fact because we've had some kind of, kerfuffle during our day. And at the end of the day, now we're going back and looking at it and going, okay, well now, was I a victim? Was I a villain? How did that happen? Whose fault is it? Which are all sort of the general trappings of the unawakened mind. Over.
Thank you, Linda. Yes, that makes absolute sense. Thank you. I missed that bit about the victim and the villain. Thank you.
How did you know the story of my life, Linda?
Because we're all one, Shabana.
Thank you.
Well, should we continue to read? Everybody had lots of great comments there.
All right, this is chapter 17, and it is Neil speaking. That is the most hopeful thing I have ever read. It means that all of us, even the worst of us, have a home in your heart if we will but claim it. And this must be what it means to have a friendship with God. When I began this book, I said I hope to focus on two things: how to turn a conversation with God into a real working friendship, and how to use that friendship to apply the wisdom of conversations with God in day-to-day life. And now, you are learning what I said to you before, that your relationship with God is no different from your relationship with each other. As in your relationships with other humans, you begin with a conversation. If the conversation goes well, you develop a friendship. If the friendship goes well, you experience true oneness. This is what the soul calls souls. This is what all souls desire with each other. It is what all souls seek with me. The idea behind this book was to show you how to develop the friendship once you've had the conversation. You've had the conversation in 3 books that preceded this. Now it's time to have a friendship. I am sorry to say that many people, however, will not take the first step in their relationship with me. They find it impossible to believe that I would have a real conversation with them. And so they limit their experience of me to one-way interactions, what most would call prayer. They talk to me, but not with me. Some of those who talk to me have a high level of faith that I am hearing in their words. Yet even they do not expect to hear mine. So they look for signs They say, God, give me a sign. Yet when I give them a sign in the most common way, that I'm sorry, I got a phone call right in the middle of that. They say, give me a sign. Yet when I give them a sign in the most common way that they can think of, by using the very language which they speak, they deny me. And I tell you this, some of you will deny me. Not only will you deny that this is a sign, you will deny that receiving such a sign is even possible. Yet I tell you this, nothing is impossible in God's world. I have not stopped talking directly with you, and I never will. You may not always hear clearly or interpret with complete accuracy what I have to say, but as long as you try, as long as you keep the dialogue open, you give our friendship a chance, and as long as you give God a chance, you will never be alone. Never face any important question by yourself, and never be without an instant resource in a time of need. And yet always have a home in my heart. This is what it means to have a friendship with God. And that friendship is open to everyone. Everyone. Regardless of their beliefs, regardless of their religion, regardless of their beliefs, regardless of their religions, or lack of religion, or lack of religion. Anybody can have a friendship with God at any time. Is that right? You all do have a friendship with God. Some of you just don't know it, as I have already said. I know that we're repeating ourselves here, but I want to make sure, I want to make absolutely certain that I get this right. You just talked about how we don't always interpret everything completely accurately. And this is one thing I want to get accurately as I can. I want there to be no mistake about this. You are saying that there is no right way to God. That is what I am saying, exactly, precisely, unequivocally. There are 1,000 paths to God, and every one gets you there. So we can, at last, bring an end to better about God. We can stop saying that ours is the better God. Yes, you can. But will you? That is the question. It will require you to give up your ideas of superiority, and that is the most seductive idea human beings ever had. It has seduced the entire human race. It has justified the wholesale slaughter of members of your own species and of other species sentient being on your planet. This one single thought, this one idea that you have, that you are somehow better than someone else, has caused all the heartache, all the suffering, all the cruelty, all the inhumanity that you have inflicted upon each other. Yes, you've made this point before. And like the many other points I have made with you in this dialogue, I will make it over and over again. This point in particular, I want to emphasize now in such stark terms, in such clear and specific language, that you can never forget it. For throughout the ages, humans have asked me, what is the way to a more perfect world? How can we live together in harmony? What is the secret to lasting peace? And throughout the ages, I have given you the answer. Throughout the ages, I have brought you this wisdom 1,000 times in 1,000 ways, and yet you have not listened. Now I declare it over and over here in this dialogue, in language so plain that you can never again ignore it, but will understand it completely and internalize it so deeply that you will hereafter and forevermore reject any suggestion that one group of you is somehow better than another group of you. Again, I say, put an end to better. For this is the new gospel. There is no master race. There is no great nation. There is no one true religion. There is no inherently perfect philosophy. There is no always right political party, morally supreme economic system, or one and only way to heaven. Erase these ideas from your memory, eliminate them from your experience, eradicate them from your culture, for these are thoughts of division and separation, and you have killed each other over these thoughts. Only the truth I give you here will save you. We are all one. Carry this message far and wide across oceans and over continents, around the corner and around the world. I will. Wherever I go, wherever I am, I will say it loud and clear. And with this declaration of the new gospel, dispel forever the second most dangerous idea on which humans have based their behaviors, that there is the thought that there is something you have to do to survive. There is nothing you have to do. Your survival is guaranteed. It is a fact, not a hope. It is a reality, not a promise. You have always been, are now, and always will be. Life is eternal, love is immortal, and death is only a horizon. I heard that line in the lyrics of a wonderful song recorded by Carly Simon. Have I not told you that I will communicate with you in many ways? An article in a 3-month-old magazine at the hair salon, a chance utterance by a friend, the lyrics to the next song you hear. It is through these kinds of conversations, continuing conversations with God, that I send you my eternal message. Your survival is guaranteed. The question is not whether you will survive, but what shall be your experience while you are surviving. You are answering that question now in what you call this lifetime and what you call the next. For what you experience in the next lifetime can only be a reflection of what you have created in this lifetime, because in truth, there is only one everlasting life, with each moment creating the next. And so, we create our own heaven and our own hell. Yes, now and even furthermore, forevermore. Yet once you are clear that your survival is not in question, you can stop worrying about which one of you is better. You don't have to punish yourself forever, scramble to get to the top, or destroy others to ensure that you're the one of the fittest. And so at last you can get the hell out of there, literally. Come then, join me now in a deep and abiding friendship. I have given you the steps here, and I have shared with you the attitudes of God, which will change your life. Come then, get the hell out. Bring the blessing and the joy and the heaven in. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. I would not tell you this if it were not so. I accept your invitation to enter into true friendship with God. I will follow the 7 steps. I will adopt the 5 attitudes. And I will never again believe that you have stopped talking to me or that I can't speak directly to you. Good. And since we are now close friends, I have a favor to ask of you. Anything. Ask and you shall receive. Will you explain here how to implement some of the grandest truths in the conversations with God? I want everyone to understand how to render that wisdom functional in daily life. What part of the wisdom do you wish to discuss? Let's focus in on some particular portion of the message, and I will tell you how to use it functionally in your moment-to-moment interactions. Good. Okay, now we're getting down to it. Okay, at the end of the Conversations with God trilogy, you said that the entire 800-plus page dialogue could be summarized in 3 points. We're all one, there's enough, and there's nothing we have to do. You've kind of circled back to points 1 and 3 here just now when you talked about the end of better. Yes. But could you tell how this would work every day in life? Also, what about point 2? How do I apply that in everyday living? How do I apply all of these points? Thank you for asking. We are now indeed getting down to it. The first message is very easy to apply. Simply move through your life as if everyone, and indeed everything, is an extension of you. Treat all other people as if they were a part of you. Treat all other things the same way. Wait, there, right there. That is a good example of what I mean. How do I apply a statement like that to my everyday life? What does that mean that I cannot swat? Does that mean that I cannot swat a mosquito? There are no cans or cannots here. There are no shoulds or shouldn'ts. You may do as you wish. Every decision is a statement of who you are. Well, who I am is a person that does not want a mosquito bite. Fine, then do what it takes to experience yourself as that. It is that simple, you see. But if I am one with everything, am I not killing a part of myself when I swat the mosquito? Nothing dies, only changes form. Yet let us use your definitions for a moment for the purposes of this discussion. Yes, by your definition, you are killing a part of yourself when you swat the mosquito. You are doing the same thing when you cut down a tree, or pick a flower, or slaughter a cow and eat it. Then I can't touch anything. I have to leave everything exactly the way it is. If termites are destroying my house, I have to just move out and give them the house, because after all, I don't want to murder them. How far do you take this? That is a good question. How far do you take this? Does the fact that you don't kill people mean that you don't kill termites? Conversely, does the fact that you kill termites mean that it's okay to kill people? No, of course not. Well then, there you have it. You answered your own question. Yes, because I've used a different value system. It's not the one you're suggesting here. I'm not saying that we're all one. I'm saying that people and termites are not one, nor are trees and people. And so having made that distinction, I'm treating them differently. Under your value system, I could not do that. Of course you could. Remember, I have said we are all one, but I have not said that you are all the same. Is your hair the same as your heart? I beg your pardon? Because you cut your hair off, does that mean you will cut your heart out? Okay, I see what you're saying. Do you? Do you really? Because many human beings act as if they don't. They treat everyone and everything as if it were the same. They treat human life as if it were worth nothing more than the life of a mosquito, a termite. If they see that that is okay to cut their hair off, cut their heart out. They bite their nose to spite their face. Not many people act like that. I tell you this, every one of you has acted like that in one way or another. Every one of you has acted indiscriminately, treating one thing as if it were the same as another, treating one person as if he or she were another. You walk down the street and you see a white person and you think that she's the same as you imagine all white people to be. You walk down the street and see a black person and you think he is the same as you imagine all black people to be. In this, you make two mistakes. You have stereotyped whites and blacks, Jews and Gentiles, men and women, Russians and Americans, Serbs and Albans, bosses and workers, blondes and brunettes. And you will not stop stereotyping, because to stop stereotyping means that you will have to stop justifying your treatment of each other. Okay, so where are we with all this? How do I treat everyone and everything as if it were a part of me? What if I decide that someone or some group is a cancer on my body? Do I not cut it out? Is that not what we call ethnic cleansing, the wiping out or the displacement of a whole people? Indeed, you have made such decisions. Yes, about the Albans in Kosovo and the Jews in Germany. I was thinking more about the native people of America. Oh, indeed. Wiping out a people is wiping out a people, whether at Auschwitz or at Wounded Knee, as you have observed before, as I have observed before. Yet, if we are all a part of the same body, what if I decide that something or someone is a cancer? How do I deal with that? That's what I'm asking here. You attempt to heal the cancer. How do I do that? Good try, love. But some things in some people don't respond to love. Sometimes healing a cancer means killing it, getting it out of the body. It is the body we are trying to heal, not the cancer. What if the body doesn't need healing? What? Always you are justifying cruelty to others, even the killing of others, as a means of surviving yourself. Yet this takes us back to another question, another issue. I spoke before about the second most dangerous idea human beings hold. Now, let's close the circle here. What do you imagine will happen if you do not get rid of this cancer we were talking about? I will die. And so to avoid dying, cut the cancer out. It is a matter of survival. Exactly. And that is the same reason that people kill other people, wipe out whole groups of people, displace entire populations and ethnic minorities. They think that they must do so, that this is a matter of their survival. Yes. Yet I tell you this, there is nothing that you have to do to survive. Your survival is guaranteed. You have always been, are now, always will be, without end. Your survival is a fact, not a hope, a reality, not a promise. Therefore, everything that you have been doing in order to survive has been unnecessary. You have been creating a living hell for yourself in order to avoid the hell that you imagine that you will avoid by creating the hell that you are creating. You're talking about one form of surviving, eternal life. And I'm talking about another form, who we are right now, right here. What if we like who we are right here, right now, and we don't want to see anything or anybody change that? You do not know who you really are right here, right now. If you did, you would never do the things you do. You would never have to. But you aren't addressing the issue. What if we happen to like who we are right here, right now, and don't want to see anything or anybody change that? Then you would not be who you really are. You would only be who you think you are here and now. And you would be attempting the impossible, which is to always remain who you think you are. This you cannot do. I don't get it. You've lost me. Who you are is life. You are life itself. And what is life? It is a process. And what is that process? It is evolution, or what you would call change. Life, everything in life changes. Everything. Life is change. That is what life is. When you put an end to change, you put an end to life. Yet that you cannot do. And so you create a living hell, trying to do something you cannot do, efforting and straining to remain unchanged, when who you are is change itself. You are that which changes. But some things change for the better, and some things change for the worse. All I'm trying to do is stop the changes for the worse. There is no such thing as better or worse. You just made all that up. You decide what to call better and what to call worse. Okay, but what if I call it better to stay alive in my present physical form than to die? I call that a change for the worse. Surely you are not saying that I have to do, if I do have cancer in my body, I should do nothing because life is eternal. And if my life in this body ends because of my inaction, so what? Surely you're not saying that, are you? I am saying that every act is an act of self-definition. That is all you are doing here. You are defining and creating, expressing and experiencing who you think you are. In short, you are evolving. How you evolve is your choice. That you evolve is not. If you are a being who chooses to cut out a cancer within you in order to preserve your larger life form, then you will demonstrate that. If you are a being who sees others of your species as a cancer because they are different from you or disagree with you, you will demonstrate that. Indeed, many of you already have demonstrated that. I'm going to invite you now to see life in an entirely new way. I'm going to invite you to view life as nothing more than a continuing process of change. Think of it this way. Everything is changing all of the time. That includes you. You are both the changer and the changed. That is because even as you are changing, you are causing the change in yourself and in the world around you. When you arise in the morning, I invite you to think of one thing. What is going to change today? Not will there be a change today? That is a given. But what is that change going to be? And what part will you play in creating that change, in being the conscious cause of it? Every second of every minute of every hour of every day, you are making decisions. These choices are all about what will change and how. They are about nothing else. even a choice as simple as combing your hair. Let's use that because it's an easy one. You can imagine that you are combing your hair the same way every day, and so you are changing nothing at all. Yet the very act of combing is an act of change. You go to the mirror, you look at your hair just after you woke up, and you say, it's a mess. You can't go out like that. You've got to change it. You've got to change the way you look. So you wash your face, you comb your hair, you get ready for the day. All the while, you are making decisions. Now, some of these are decisions to change things back the way they were. And so you create the illusion of keeping things the way they are. Yet you are simply recreating yourself anew in the grandest version of the greatest vision you ever had about who you are. All of life is a process of recreation. This is God's greatest joy. This is God's recreation. Now, the implications this has on your life are phenomenal when you think about it. This is an extraordinary revelation. You are doing nothing but changing. You are doing nothing but evolving. How you are changing is up to you. What you are evolving is up to you. Yet the fact that you are is not something that is open to question. It is a given. That is just what is going on. That is what life is. It is what God is. It is what you are. Life, God, you equals that which changes. Now, Nanette, I wonder, it's 10 till, 9 till. Should we keep going?
I think you wanted to bring something up here at the end, and then I know Shabana will probably want to do her meditation here at the end.
Okay.
So I think maybe we should stop it here.
Okay.
Okay, so Linda, you want to go first?
Well, does anybody, no, I'll save mine till the end, I think. It's just a quote I want to share.
Okay.
So.
Where did Shabana go? Oh. Shabana, do you want to?
Yes, I'm frozen, but you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Does anybody want to give me an idea of what they'd like to say? Linda, you're going to hold on to that quote, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Sarah, do you have any ideas?
Are you waiting for me?
Yeah. You're not going to say anything. Oh. Okay, I'll start the meditation. All right. We are just as grand as we decide to be because you trust us, God, to love you, to listen to you, and to do what we choose to do. Each one of us is blessed to be here. And we begin with gratitude and compassion for our own lives and for our own beauty and wisdom. And now, as a group, we're sharing it with everyone forevermore. Amen.
Thank you, Shabana.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
That was so much fun. That reading was better than usual, and they're all good.
Mm-hmm. A lot of powerful stuff.
Too bad we didn't have the drama of last week.
Oh.
I guess that's the problem with being creators and being love. There's no drama. I kind of miss it.
Well, I'm sure we'll get back to that.
Well, that's the great point, actually, Shabana. That's the thing. When you achieve real peace, there's no drama. And that's really what I think humans resist. It's kind of why we resist peace, is because what will we do?
Well, I guess we'd ride our bikes without scraping our knees and, things like that. Kind of boring, eh?
Well, it's interesting. I've really been meditating a lot on being in the moment, just being present and not having, the influences of thoughts about things, which is a lot of what this chapter has been about. And so I don't know if anybody else on the call does the daily calm meditations, but today she shared the parable of the guru or whatever, he's on a cliff and here comes a tiger and the tiger's going to eat him. And he really doesn't have much choice but to climb over the edge of this cliff. And so he climbs over the edge of the cliff and he's hanging by a vine, perhaps hoping that, the tiger will go away. And then two mice come out and they start nibbling on the vine, eating the vine. And it's real clear that very shortly he's going to go down to the bottom of this crevasse that he's hanging over. And then he notices a strawberry and he has to let go of with one hand and kind of stretch and reach out and pluck this strawberry to eat it. And he does that. And the whole point of the parable is he didn't get caught up in worrying about the tiger or the mice chewing on the vine. He stayed present and he was able to make what was probably his last moment in this lifetime a pleasant one by eating the strawberry, instead of being obsessed with, oh my God, any second now I'm going to drop to the bottom of the crevasse. So I thought that was worth sharing. And then there is a book, Mooji has written a book, Vaster Than Sky, Greater Than Space. And this is just a short quote, but it really, and it touches on what Shabana was just talking about. So I think it's perfect to share. And thank you for allowing me this opportunity. So here it is. Get accustomed to feeling empty. Observe how life is not made, but rather unfolds out of this spaciousness. Your life is simply a flowering unfolding by itself. There is no tree inside a tree, no cloud inside a cloud, no horse inside a horse. And there is no person inside a human body. There is just consciousness and the dance of the life force. Come to recognize the simplicity of all of this and bask in immutable joy.
That's beautiful.
Very beautiful and inspiring. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, now you're making the whole reading look bad.
No, I think it complements the reading.
That was just gorgeous. I just had to say something like that. It was, I felt the spaciousness and I feel it now. Thank you.
Well, and I want to add one quick thing before we go. When I was an undergraduate, I was in a theater class. My professor was probably, I'm going to say, 65 years old. And he told us the story of he and his wife and children were at an air show. And it was a small prop plane. And this pilot was just weaving in and out of the clouds, weaving in and out of the clouds. And then it became very apparent that something was wrong with the plane. And he went into this acrobatic thing all the way until it crashed into the ground. And that story that you told, Linda, reminded me of that. He did not spend his last moments going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Although he might have been doing that. There's always a chance. But anyway, very inspirational. And we will see each other next week.
Next week is a long weekend here in Canada. I think it is in the U.S. too.
Is that Labor
Yeah, it's
Day?
Labor Day. Yeah.
Then let's not do that. Let's take
So
next
skip
weekend
Labor
off.
Day weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I'll see you 2 weeks from this week.
In 2 weeks, we'll see everybody and have a joyous Labor Day. I'm not sure if you get the same weekend in Britain, Sarah? No. Okay. Anyway, it's a special time. And then the kids go back to school here in Canada.
So our kids have already gone back. So
Yeah.
all righty then.
All right, guys. See you later.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.